walk you, sit you by the lake, so you see Lake Michigan and Millennium Park. So Google Kendall College Dining Experience. You can make reservations. You can order a bottle of wine, but be prepared. You might have to teach them how to open it. They're 19 and 20-year-old young students, I'd like to say. But I've been there 10 times. It's always incredible and great. And it's getting busier, though, I can tell you that. All right, I'm going to talk about the Chicago Tribune. Who still gets a newspaper? Anybody? Yeah, I get the Sunday paper. I love it. In fact, this is called the Freedom Center. In fact, 3.5 years from now, this is going to look totally different. You might want to take a picture. But I'm going to talk about this area, then I'm going to talk about the history of Chicago, and then you won't miss anything visually that I'm talking about. So if you want to go downstairs, use the restroom, get a cocktail, a beer, a Shirley Temple, Aperol Spritz, whatever, feel free. You're not going to miss anything. So let's talk about this. Fence is a week old. That's how new this fence is. Now the Chicago Tribune, we used to print thousands of newspapers. And then you'll see in a few minutes the two brown doors. We would open them up early in the morning, load them up on a barge, and then the barge would go down to the railroads, which we're going to pass in a little bit. And then they would distribute them throughout the United States. Now what is going to be going in here? You guys have seen we have a casino here in Chicago. It's a temporary casino. It's called Bally's or Bailey's Casino. It's on State Street, right in between Ohio and Ontario. That is a temporary setting. They are building the new casino here. It's going to be 32-story hotel, a huge indoor casino floor, and an indoor-outdoor concert venue. Now people go, why are they building a casino? It's supposed to fund the police officers' retirement. That's the purpose. Now, some of you are not gamblers, but if you go into the Bally's Casino or Bailey's Casino, it's the old circus building. It's a beautiful historical building, so feel free to go in there and just check out the building. Now, who's been to Vegas in the summer? Yes, I heard this year it got up to like 120, like crazy temperatures. In fact, I think Chicago will be pretty busy. In fact, we get the second most tourists in the United States. Did you guys know that? Probably from May till October, the nice weather. Now, what city in the United States is number one with tourists? Anybody? New York's a good guess.
Vegas.
Hawaii's a good guess. Vegas. How about where's Walt Disney World? Florida, Orlando, Florida. They got that thing called sunshine, summer all year round, right? Yes. In fact, Walt Disney was born in Chicago. So they're number one. We're number two. But that's not bad, because we have that thing called winter, right? Now, let's talk about the history of Chicago. So Chicago was founded 1830, Native Americans. And then 1837, we became a city. 300 people in our city. And then in 1870, we had 300,000 people in Chicago. Now, you guys know on October 8th, 1871, we had that great Chicago fire. Remember? Our city burnt down. What did? We rebuilt our city. And what put Chicago on the map? Now, I'm going to talk about the fire when we get close. I want to show you where the fire started, and it's on our list. So we'll talk about the fire when we get closer. But what put Chicago on the map? We got the Second World's Fair. Now, where was the first World's Fair? We all watched the Olympics. Paris had the first World's Fair. Now you guys will never forget that. So you might remember this now. And what represented the World's Fair? What had the Olympic rings on it? The Eiffel Tower, right? Chicago got the second World's Fair. How do we get it? New York wanted it. St. Louis wanted it. We sent our politicians to bid for that World's Fair. They blew a lot of hot air, meaning they told a lot of lies about our city, and we won that World's Fair. Get excited. Now, you guys know we're called the Windy City. Not because of our wind, it's because of our politicians. They're called windbags, and that's why we're called the Windy City today. In fact, we're the 16th windiest city. Austin has more wind than us. And Dodge City, Kansas is the windiest city in the United States today. So to prepare for that World's Fair, we only had 2.5 years. Guess what we did? We drained thousands of gallons of water out of Lake Michigan. We planted thousands of trees, and we built over 250 white plastic buildings. In fact, some of you know Chicago's called the White City. Some of you read the book Devil in the White City. We had our first serial killer. What was his name? H.H. Holmes. Somebody said it. Well done. Yes. If you like these fun facts, you got to read the book, Devil in the White City. In fact, if you want to see, we still have tunnels that go under the city. We don't know where they all go today. If you want to see a real tunnel, when you get off the boat, head west on Dearborn, or to Dearborn, and then south on Dearborn, and going to Harry Carey's restaurant. When you go in there, turn right, you'll see a set of stairs, and you will see original Chicago underground. Definitely. It's cool. You definitely got to do it. You don't even have to eat there. Just go in there and check it out. All right. So who built the Ferris wheel to represent our World's Fair? George Ferris. He was a worker for the railroads. He was a steel worker. That first Ferris wheel, 36 boxcars. In fact, it takes 26 minutes to go all the way around. It held 60 people in each boxcar. Can you imagine? One was empty for the live orchestra. 28 million people came to that World's Fair. That was from May till September. That was half the population of the United States in 1893. Pretty cool. Anybody been to the Science and Industry Museum? That is the only building left from the World's Fair today. And my favorite museum in the city, I would say. Now, what inventions came out of that World's Fair? You guys use them all still today. Anybody want to guess? Maybe. Electricity, Nikola Tesla, the zipper, chewing gum, diet soda, Cracker Jacks, the ice cream cone, Twinkies, the wash machine, the dishwasher, Pabst beer. Thank God we've improved our beer today, right? Chicagoans, we call that water. That's how we hydrate in our city, right? But pretty cool that we, all these inventions, right? Now, what color do we dye our river on St. Patrick's Day? Green. Who dyes our river? The Plumbers Union, one of the most powerful union people here in Chicago. They use vegetable oil, and it's orange vegetable oil. As soon as it hits the river, it turns that lime green. And part of the reason they use vegetable oil to protect the fish. Beautiful picture. You want to take a picture down there? One of my favorite pictures looking east down the river. You saw that building with the hole in it. We're going to talk about that later on. All right, coming up on our right, in fact, what letter represents Chicago? Y. The letter Y. Doesn't this building look like the letter Y? Yeah, it looks very narrow. Why is it? Almost upside down. It's 150 North Riverside. It's Gesh and Partners is the architect. Now, why is it so narrow? Well, railroad tracks go underneath that building. In fact, it's only 40 feet across. As we go underneath the bridge, look in the glass window, 40 feet across. In fact, you can see our building's reflection, our boat's reflection, I should say. Hello, look at them. Where's your cocktails? They're only drinking water. Like, uh-oh. There they come. But look at this building. See the 8 steel beams, how they wrap all the way to the top of that building? How does that building stay up in the wind, cold, rain, snow, and we get tornado warnings? Well, there's 2 rollers, each hold 160,000 gallons of water at the very top. And when the wind is pushing on that building, the rollers roll the opposite direction. It's called a band damper system. It's all computer generated, and that's how that building stays straight up in the air. Can you imagine being in there on a rainy day? In fact, it's a leaf lemon building. They have their own honeybees. If you work in there, every year you get a small jar of local honey, and you must have your badge, because when you go in there, the elevators have no buttons. It knows what floor to drop you off by your badge. Now look at the very top of the Boeing building. See the circles up there? Those are called, they're supposed to look like salt pepper shakers. That building was designed for the Morton Salt Company, but Boeing bought it. Boeing's still there, but they've moved to West Virginia. They had some workers. But look at this part of the building at the top. It's being supported, not from the bottom, at the very top on that section. In fact, we could be under this building throwing a frisbee, throwing a football, kicking a soccer ball. Nothing is supporting the building. All the support is from the bottom. I mean, from the top. I'm so sorry. Look all the way at the top over your right shoulder. Those are trellises, and there's 5 of them. See that X beam up there? Pretty cool, right? I mean, look at those 2 buildings. Pretty incredible, right? Chicago. Remember when you're in school, the teacher would say, where there's a will,
There's a way.
That's right. Now over to your right, you see how this, I don't know where he went. He's over there. All right, look over here. I might have an issues up over here to your right. Trains, that's right. Can you guys imagine working there, smelling the diesel and hearing that noise, trying to teach in that building? I don't think so. But this building is soundproof and smell-proof. Now, looking at the building, who do you think the architect is? Remember that German guy, less is more, international style? Mies van der Rohe. Now, the reason we call them the gateways, it's the gateway to the Midwest. It's the third busiest Amtrak station in the United States. They're doing a lot of work. So you guys notice open and clear space along the river. Why is that? It's called the Burnham Plan of 1909. When our city burned down, we rebuilt our city, and Daniel Burnham designed our city. In fact, 36 bridges. Oh, I want you to look over left. I don't want to miss this. Look at the tallest building here in Chicago. Look to the left, right above the bridge, above that white building. Take a look. There she is. There she is. Can you see her? Oh yeah, beautiful picture of her today.
Yeah.
Now get your camera if you missed it. You're gonna get another great picture once we get in between these two buildings. So white one and the silver building here on the left. Now Sears Willis Tower. She's the tallest building here in Chicago. She is 1,454 feet tall.
Oh, that's the
In
one.
fact, you're going to look at the antenna in a minute. You guys see her? Yeah.
Yeah,
The antenna
here
does
it
not
is.
count for the height of that building because it's removable. They're communication TV antennas. You see those 5 glass boxes? Look at, they're taking a picture of us as we're taking a picture of them. 25,000 people go up there every day. She's 50 years old.
25,000 people.
In 1973. She is the tallest steel constructed building in the United States, number 2, the Empire State Building, and the 23rd tallest building in the world today. Take a look behind you. See the 9 square boxes, all different heights? That's called bundled tubular construction. We're going to talk about her more on the way back. Now look at this building on your left. That is a map of the South Branch of the river. And that red box is the largest You Are Here map in the world, I think. In fact, I've only been doing this 3 years, but the tour guide said for years nothing was on that building. And then they spent $1 billion to put that up. But it worked. We're talking about it, right? All right, let's go back to the left side. Now this building over here, this is the old post office. In fact, some people were talking about this earlier. Now, today it's home of corporate offices. It still says United States Post Office where the freeway is, right? The expressway, the highway, all goes underneath it. In fact, today, if you look back on Sears, oh my gosh, look at her pretty picture behind you guys. There you go. Yeah, gorgeous. Now people go, why did we build this large post office? Well, remember Mr. Montgomery Ward, he had that warehouse business. And we needed a large enough post office to support his business. Now, when Mr. Montgomery Ward sold his business, the post office moved next door. In 1996, they sold this building for $10 million to a British gentleman. He did nothing with the building. In fact, they were concerned. Pieces were falling off. It was deteriorating. And you see all the cars go underneath there. The city went after him. They said, you need to fix that building. He goes, nope, I'm not fixing it. The city said,